Everyone thought she was just grieving. But when Tiffany Mann went live at 2 a.m., the truth hit like a thunderclap. What she revealed didn't just shake the gospel world, it exposed a kingdom built on lies, betrayal, and silence. And her voice. It was the match that lit the fire. Everyone thought she was just grieving. Tiffany Mann, daughter of gospel legends, was expected to mourn quietly, respectfully, behind closed doors. But then, at 2 a.m., the silence cracked. Tiffany Mann is live. That one notification was like a siren. Phones lit up, timelines flooded, and thousands tuned in unsure what they'd see. And there she was, eyes puffy, hair unkempt, holding a small Bluetooth speaker, like it was sacred and dangerous all at once. Her voice trembled, but not from grief, from fury. "I've been silent long enough." Then came the audio. David Mann's voice, her father, came through the speaker, flat and cruel. "Tamela was never meant to survive. Jackie, you agreed to it." The comment section exploded. Did he just say that? His own wife? This is demonic. But Tiffany didn't blink, didn't back down. She wasn't sick. They made her sick. They poisoned her with medication she never needed. They lied, faked a diagnosis, and forged her signature behind her back. She held up a document, hands visibly shaking. "This right here, Jackie signed it. Heavy drugs. False dementia." My mother wasn't confused. They made her look crazy, so they could erase her. Then she played the second recording. This time, David's voice was colder, calculated. "If she wakes up and talks, we lose everything. The empire only stands if she stays silent." Tiffany's voice cracked. "You called this a ministry?" "No, it was a business, a kingdom, and my mother was your sacrifice." And just like that, no outro, no warning, the live ended, but it was already too late. The clip erupted across social media. Hashtag Justice for Tamela, hashtag David Mann cancelled, hashtag expose Jackie now. Even mainstream outlets were picking it up by sunrise. Gospel news sites were in meltdown. Pastors paused Sunday sermons. Radio hosts scrapped playlists. Everyone was talking about it. And in a dim hospital room, a nurse watching the live from the hallway turned the screen toward a woman lying still in bed. Tamel, eyes closed, skin pale. But as the words echoed into the room, her fingers twitched, her eyelids fluttered. Doctors called it coincidence. Tiffany didn't. She knew her mother was still in there, still fighting, still holding on even after being drugged, betrayed, erased. Back online, the gospel world unraveled. Old interviews with David, once full of praise, now felt hollow. His sermons on truth and faith rang false. Churches began removing his music. Artists distanced themselves. Bookings disappeared. Jackie vanished, her clinic's Instagram gone. LinkedIn wiped clean. But Tiffany wasn't done. "You think that was the only recording? Buckle up," she posted. This wasn't the collapse of a family. It was the public dismantling of a kingdom built on silence. And Tiffany. She was done being quiet. Outside Tamela's hospital, the chaos had taken on a life of its own. News vans stretched down the block like a parade of scandal. Protesters held signs that once might have said "praise him," now reading, "Tama deserved better. Arrest Jackie now. We believed in you, David." And yet, in the middle of the storm, Tiffany vanished. No posts, no interviews, no updates. Some thought she'd been silenced. Others feared something worse, but then came another explosion louder than the last. A 17-minute phone recording landed in the inbox of Hollywood Unlocked. Anonymous, raw, damning. According to sources, Tiffany had discovered a hidden burner phone buried inside Jackie's bathroom cabinet, and this tape came from it. The voices were unmistakable. "David Mann, you should have just followed the plan. We already bought off the doctor." "Jackie, don't blame me. It was Tiffany." She started digging. "David, she was supposed to be loyal, but she's weak, just like her mother. Always leading with emotion instead of protecting the empire. I should have never trusted either of them." Jackie, quiet, almost trembling. "So, what do we do now?" "David, we shut her down. The same way we did to Tamela." The internet buckled under the weight of it. Church leaders, some who had defended David for decades, fell into stunned silence. TikTok erupted in a wave of gospel fans burning merch, deleting playlists, and reposting Tiffany's live. Within hours, entire stations stopped airing David's music. And as outrage rippled through the faith community, Tiffany finally reappeared, but not online. She walked straight into First Sanctified Baptist Church in Houston. No makeup, no filters. dressed in all black like a mourner and a soldier. The congregation fell into a hush. As she stepped to the pulpit, the same one her father once ruled, she looked out across the crowd and spoke clearly. My mother sang about God, but she lived with the devil. Gasps echoed through the pews. My father told the world we were a God-fearing family, but the only thing he truly feared was losing control. Her voice cracked, but she kept going. You saw my mom shining on stage, but you didn't see her when the lights went off. You didn't see her curled on the bathroom floor, shaking. You didn't see Jackie handing her pills, saying, "This will help you sleep." You didn't see the forged diagnosis, early onset dementia. A lie. My mother thought she was losing her mind, but they were slowly killing her. And then she reached into her purse and pulled out a small glass vial, holding it high. This is what they gave her. Not vitamins. Not something for rest. Sedatives, strong enough to knock out a grown man. Labeled, dated, initialed by Dr. Jackie Lewis. She paused. The crowd sat in stunned horror. And that same doctor. Gone. Disappeared last night. No goodbye. No statement. News of the service spread like wildfire. CNN, Bet, NBC, they all picked it up. One segment ran with the headline, "From Stage to Silence, the Fall of Gospel's Golden Couple." Then came a breaking hospital update. Tamela Mann had opened her eyes. She wasn't fully lucid, but when Tiffany walked into her room and gently took her hand, Tamela squeezed back. A nurse whispered, "Do you know who this is?" Tamela didn't speak at first. Her lips moved slowly, carefully. One word, betrayed. Tiffany collapsed to the floor, sobbing. "I'm sorry, Mama. I didn't know. I didn't see it. I tried." Someone caught the entire moment on camera. Within 7 hours, the clip hit 1 million views. Outside, supporters held vigils, candles, old gospel CDs. One woman held up Tamela's album and sobbed into a microphone. "She prayed me through cancer, and now she's the one fighting to live. This ain't right. This ain't godly." Back inside, Tiffany leaned in close, whispering through tears. "You heard it, didn't you, Mama? You heard what he said." Tamela's fingers twitched again. Then, with fragile lips, she whispered Tiffany. Tiffany gasped, fell to her knees, clutched her mother's hand like it was life itself. "I'm here, Mama. I'm not going anywhere. I told the truth. I fought for you." The hospital erupted in motion. Doctors rushed in. Nurses called for tests. But Tiffany didn't care about the medicine. She believed one thing. Her mother woke up because the truth was finally spoken aloud, and just as hope began to flicker, another leak dropped. This time, a voicemail from Jackie. TMZ had it within the hour. The voicemail leaked. Jackie's voice played across every feed. "We did what we had to do. She was unstable. Talking about demons in the house. Said God told her to shut down the studio. You think Bet would have kept our show if she said that on camera? We protected the brand." Tiffany heard it in the hospital hallway. She froze. "She's talking about my mom like she was a liability." She didn't wait. She pulled out her phone. Instagram Live. Again, 180,000 people joined within 5 minutes. "So let me get this straight," Tiffany said, trembling. "You drugged my mother without her consent and a fake diagnosis, just to protect your image. You wanted her gone, so the show wouldn't tank. And now you call that protecting the brand." Her voice sharpened. "Jackie, I hope every church you step into throws you out the door, because you ain't gospel. You ain't godly. You a devil in heels." The comments exploded. "Expose her, Tiffany. She did it for the fame." Then Tiffany dropped something even bigger. "I spoke to my mom's real doctor, the one they fired before bringing in Jackie's friend. He said Tamela had no signs of dementia. None. But the moment Jackie started signing forms, my mom was on 6 different sedatives. She couldn't even remember her lyrics. Tears streamed down her face. She thought she was going crazy, but it was them poisoning her. Quietly, slowly, until she couldn't even speak. She held up 2 photos. One, Tamela vibrant, glowing, just 2 weeks before the collapse. The other, Tamela pale, unconscious, tubes in her arms. "You did this, and I swear to God you're not getting away with it." Inside the hospital room, something miraculous was happening. Tamela sat up. Doctors were stunned. Machines beeped. "Steady now," Tamela whispered. "Where's David?" The nurse smiled gently. "Tiffany exposed him. He's gone, and you're safe now." Tamela closed her eyes, not from sedation, but from peace. Back online, the gospel world was on fire. Choir directors came forward. Former employees of the Mann family's production house shared stories, anonymous, but damning. NDA's mistreatment. Years of isolating Tamela from business decisions. One post read, "I thought she had memory loss. Now I see they were pushing her out." The words felt heavy in the air, spoken low over a coffee-stained table in a quiet corner of the sanctuary. In the last few months, whispers had become conversations, and conversations were turning into full-blown confessions. People were finally saying it out loud. Something wasn't right. Prayer vigils were announced in Atlanta and Houston, flyers taped to church doors and passed out after services read things like "Cover her in prayer" and "Stand in the gap for Sister Thomas." Some people thought it was about her health or forgetfulness in recent months. The stumbles and lost words that hinted at something neurological. That was the story the leadership had quietly spread. Concern for her well-being. A graceful stepping down. But behind closed doors, those who knew better understood. Sister Thomas wasn't fading quietly due to illness. She was being pushed, eased out of her position. Her legacy edited in real time, the perfect gospel empire was falling apart. For years, the Thomas ministry had been the gold standard. Tight harmonies, high production values, a thriving network of churches across 3 states, music that topped the Billboard gospel charts. From Atlanta to Houston to Memphis, people wore the ministry's branded t-shirts and posted lyrics to their Instagram stories like scripture. Sister Thomas Auntie June, as many called her, was the heartbeat of it all. Her voice could bring a whole room to tears. Her Sunday sermons were live-streamed to over 500,000 viewers each week. It had seemed untouchable, unshakable, until a few months ago, when Sister Thomas began to stumble, not just in her speech, but in her standing. Board meetings she used to lead were suddenly being scheduled without her. Decisions about the music label, about staff, even about the sermon calendar now made by a younger committee. Her sermons were trimmed down to a few minutes. When she walked in on Sunday mornings, the applause still thundered, but there was an awkwardness in it now, a hesitation at first. Many believed the official line, that Sister Thomas was stepping back voluntarily for her health, but then there were things that didn't add up. Why would she step down and not tell us herself? One longtime choir member whispered after rehearsal one night. "She loves the pulpit too much. That's her life." The ministry's social media accounts began posting old footage of her, grainy black and white images overlaid with scripture, while the newer videos featured younger pastors and singers. Then, a member of the senior staff quit abruptly, quietly at first, but then she posted on her personal page, "Sometimes standing for truth costs you everything, but silence costs more." That was when the rumors really caught fire. People dug deeper. Someone leaked an internal memo brief, and cold, signed by 3 board members outlining a leadership transition plan. Sister Thomas's name wasn't even on the document. Prayer vigils turned into protests. At first, they were gentle groups, gathering outside the flagship church in Atlanta, holding candles and singing her songs. But the mood began to shift. People were angry now. They felt lied to. Congregants who'd donated thousands over the years demanded transparency. Gospel radio shows hosted late-night call-ins with people voicing hurt and confusion. "She wasn't just a pastor. She raised us," one caller said. "We watched her on Sunday mornings like she was family." Meanwhile, the younger leaders at the ministry tried to hold things together. They issued statements emphasizing unity, vision for the future, new growth. But behind their words, many heard only the sound of a carefully rehearsed cover up. In Houston, where the ministry had opened its second-largest campus, things reached a breaking point. Sister Thomas had flown there for what was billed as a special appearance, but when she stepped onto the stage, there was no sermon waiting for her. Only a brief word of greeting, followed by a carefully staged handoff to a younger pastor. Her face, usually so composed, flickered with something. Confusion, maybe hurt. People in the front rows noticed afterward. An attendee posted a video clip. Sister Thomas standing by herself at the edge of the stage while the service continued. Without her, her eyes scanning the crowd, as if looking for someone to tell her what was happening. That clip went viral. The caption read simply, "This ain't right." In the days that followed, gospel artists, former staff, even rival pastors began to weigh in. Quietly at first, nobody wanted to seem disloyal, but eventually, publicly, people shared stories of how Sister Thomas had helped them when they had nothing. Others shared concerns about how quickly the leadership had moved to erase her presence. And in the middle of it all, Sister Thomas remained mostly silent. No interviews, no public statements, only a brief post on her personal account, a photo of her hands folded in prayer, captioned, "God sees all." By the time July rolled around, it was clear, the gospel empire wasn't perfect anymore. It was fractured. Some said it was just growing pains, the inevitable generational shift. Others said it was betrayal. And in the quiet corners of churches, across Atlanta and Houston, people kept repeating the same thing. "I thought she had memory loss. Now I see they were pushing her out." The truth had been hiding in plain sight, and now, nobody could look away. And then, Tiffany released the final blow. One more audio clip. David's voice, "If she doesn't die, then you and I both go down." Silence. Then again David, cold and clear. "I already paid the doctor. He knows what to do." Tiffany didn't speak during that final live. She didn't have to. The world heard everything. Within hours, federal investigators confirmed they were opening a case, charges pending, medical fraud, attempted homicide, criminal conspiracy. The headlines unfurled like gospel gone wrong. Empire in crisis. From praise to prison, Atlanta ministry under federal investigation. Local news vans gathered outside the main church campus by dusk. Cameras pointed at stained glass windows that glinted coolly under the setting sun. As if the building itself refused to confess. Inside, everything felt unnaturally still. For years, this space had pulsed, with music wires, sermons, the hum of people praying under their breath. Now all that remained was silence. Jackie, gone. Deleted all socials. The woman many had once called the ministry's executive director, Sister Thomas's right hand, now seemed to have disappeared completely. Her Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook all wiped clean within a single afternoon. Her name vanished from the ministry's website. David vanished. David, the younger pastor who had become the public face of the transition, had been last seen leaving the church office building late the night before in a black SUV. Security footage leaked by an anonymous staff member showed him slipping out a side door with a briefcase in hand, head down. No word since. His publicist, no comment. Pressed for answers, the publicist issued a single, polished statement. "We are cooperating fully with authorities and ask for privacy as we navigate these legal matters." But no one believed that was the whole story. And Tiffany. She was still by her mother's side at the hospital, in a private room marked "Do Not Disturb." Tiffany Thomas sat in a chair pulled up close to her mother's bed. Sister Thomas, once the radiant leader of thousands, now lay still under soft white sheets. But there was no more crying. Tiffany wasn't weeping anymore. She wasn't pleading, wasn't asking God why. She was humming, quiet and steady. A single hymn carried on her breath like a lullaby only the two of them could hear. The same song her mother used to sing when Tiffany was just a girl in the front row of church. "Take Me to the King." The song's melody filled the small room like a quiet prayer, rising and falling between the steady beeping of machines. It wasn't showy, wasn't meant for an audience. Just a daughter and a mother finally at peace, or maybe just too tired to fight anymore. By the end of that week, the details started to come together. Reporters unearthed records, doctored financial statements, insurance claims tied to false medical treatments. Sister Thomas had been prescribed medications that worsened her condition rather than improved it, ordered by doctors linked to ministry board members. Someone had deliberately made her appear ill. The attempted homicide charge wasn't some wild conspiracy theory, it was real. Her own people, the ones she trusted, had tried to erase her from the picture, not just figuratively, but literally. The motive, control, money, legacy. With Sister Thomas out of the way, the younger leaders could claim full authority over the ministry's assets, the gospel label, the media company, even the rights to her songs. But they'd moved too fast, gotten too bold. A former nurse, once silenced by non-disclosure agreements, stepped forward. She'd seen the pills, knew they didn't match what had been prescribed. She'd kept records copies hidden in her grandmother's attic. And now, she was handing them to federal agents by Sunday. The congregation gathered again, not for worship as usual, but for answers. The sanctuary was packed. No music played this time. No choir stood ready. The pulpit was empty, except for an older deacon, hands shaking slightly as he adjusted the microphone. "We ask for patience," he said, "and for truth to come forth. This church was built on faith, and faith must stand even in the storm." Some people left right then, unable to bear the sight of their once perfect church unraveling. Others stayed, sitting in silence, Meanwhile, across social media, former members and gospel artists posted their own memories. Photos of Sister Thomas hugging strangers after services. Videos of her singing that same hymn, "Take Me to the King," eyes closed, hands lifted, as if she really could touch heaven. Tiffany posted, one simple photo, her mother's hand in hers, no caption. It didn't need one. By Monday, arrests had begun. Jackie, found hiding at a relative's house in rural Alabama, was taken into custody. David, tracked down at an airport hotel outside Dallas, surrendered quietly. The ministry's accounts were frozen, yet in all that noise, in all that scandal, some things remained steady. Tiffany kept humming, day after day, by her mother's side. Nurses passing by would pause, just for a second, to listen. There was something steady in her voice, a calm anchor in the middle of the storm. And Sister Thomas. One morning, around dawn, her eyes opened. For the first time in weeks, she spoke just 2 words. "I'm here." The gospel empire as people had known it was finished. The shiny veneer had cracked beyond repair. But something deeper, something older than buildings and bank accounts, was still alive. A mother, a daughter. A hymn, and the quiet promise of grace, even in the ruins. And this time Tamela hummed it back. So now what? What do we do when the face of gospel, a man who preached love and redemption, gets exposed as the very one orchestrating his wife's collapse? Because Tamela Mann wasn't just a singer. Not just a wife. Not just an icon. She was the heartbeat of a family. And that heartbeat was nearly silenced not by illness, but by betrayal. David didn't just fail as a husband. He engineered her suffering while hiding behind the pulpit, and Jackie, the woman we thought was her friend, signed away her sanity like she was disposable, as if her silence was worth more than her soul. Tiffany didn't go live for clout. She didn't air drama for clicks. She broke a generational curse live on Instagram. She shattered the fake gospel empire from the inside out. And when she played that audio, David admitting Tamela was never meant to survive, we all felt it. A spiritual gut punch. This isn't gossip anymore. This is a reckoning. If you believe Tamela deserves justice, speak. If you believe women like her shouldn't be drugged, silenced, and sold out in the name of religion or ratings, share this. Let your voice be heard, because David's empire is crumbling, but Tamela's spirit, it just woke up, and the real battle, it's only just begun. Drop it for Tamela. Drop it for Tiffany. Drop it if you're done with fake gospel. Because this story isn't over. Not even close.